Happy Friday, and welcome to February. It's Weather for Weather Geeks time here on February the 1st. We're about to break out of the deep freeze, finally, as we go into the weekend, and we're going to talk about the weekend and next week, and we're also, of course, going to talk about the changing month here. We're into the final month of meteorological winter, the months of December, January, and February. In other words, the three coldest months of the year. Our averages start climbing at a decent clip this month. You know, we kind of flatline from the end of December through the end of January, but we'll pick up 7 degrees on our average highs during the month of February. And of course, that process continues to accelerate as we get into meteorological spring, starting in March. February, of course, is a pretty snowy month. It's also our shortest month. If February was a typical length month, this number would probably be higher, but it's, you know, just a shade behind December and a few percentage points behind January as far as how much snow falls in the Youngstown area. You know, we oftentimes look forward to spring's arrival and you know, once we get through February, oh, it's March, it'll start to warm up and the weather will start to turn, you know, around here. Gotta remember, March is still a pretty snowy month, especially the first half of March. It's our 4th snowiest month of the year. So oftentimes spring, of course, a little late to the party in our part of the country. All right, here was the original February forecast. We did this as part of the winter forecast, first week of November, so almost 3 months ago. The original idea, and let me actually zoom back out to the national view here. The original idea was that this would be the coldest month of the season compared to average of winter. And the heart of the cold would be centered over our region in parts of New England and parts of the deep south as well, while the west coast would be fairly warm compared to the average. Now, this original February forecast was based on modeling. It was also based on analogs. In other words, if you didn't watch the long winter video, an analog is basically, you know, we have detailed weather records going back a long time now, and we look back at previous years that had similar setups, both in the oceans and the atmosphere, to this year, and see what happened those winters. And so this forecast was kind of based on that information. Well, now that we're into February, here's the updated forecast. Had to make a pretty big change here compared to the original forecast. Yeah, it was 3 months ago. Things do change over the course of a few months, but the overall idea here is that from a national perspective, the cold is going to be more centered farther west instead of over the eastern U.S. That being said, I still think that February will be the coldest month of winter compared to the average. December was very warm. January was exactly average, pretty much. I do think we have a pretty good chance of being a little below average during the month of February. So it may not be as extreme as I originally thought, but the idea that the back part of winter would be the coldest compared to average, I still think it is the right idea. I also think that we're going to make up some more ground in the snow department this month. I think there's going to be several opportunities for some winter storms across the area with an active storm track like this. That's a recipe for a lot of unsettled weather for our region. Every single time it's not going to be snow. I think some of this can be mixes and rain and things like that, but I think that the pattern is favorable overall for some snow storms, more than just, you know, piddling lake effect at times, but some legitimate snow storms during the month of February. And again, we have some ground to make up because we had almost no snow in December. January was above average, but for the season, we're only at 34.4 at the airport. Remember, for the season, we average in the mid-60s at the Youngstown Warren Airport. So we're behind the curve a little bit as far as our averages go, and we're certainly behind last year's pace. We were at 43.4 through February 1st of 2018. All right, this weekend, one of the things we look forward to is we start looking for signs of spring. Spring training is a few weeks away, you know, as we get towards the second half of February, we start seeing sunsets getting up to 6 o'clock, sunrises around 7 a.m. The days are getting longer, and we're picking up daylight at a pretty fast pace now. And from February 3rd through May 4th, this is what we call solar spring. It's the 3-month period in which we have the most rapid increase in daylight on a day-to-day basis. During that time, right around the vernal equinox in March, in other words, at the start of astronomical spring, we gain about 2 minutes and 40 seconds worth of daylight per day. At the start of solar spring, we'll gain about 2 minutes and 15 seconds worth of daylight per day. So that's something to look forward to. All right, this morning, it was pretty nasty. You know, we talked about this last night. This would be a low amount but high impact event this morning with this clipper. And, you know, some places got 2 inches or so. It's not all the snow in the world, but it came at a bad time of the day. It came when the temperature was 8 degrees, so everything's stuck. The afternoon was certainly better. The snow went away, the roads cleared out, and the sun came out during the last few hours of daylight today. So it was a classic example of you don't need a lot of snow to cause a lot of problems. And if it comes at the wrong time of day, and if it's cold enough, it just takes very little snow for the roads to get pretty bad. All right, so loop of the radar. You know, this was kind of an overachiever along the I-70 corridor. There were some places that got a half a foot worth of snow near, you know, around the I-70 corridor from Dayton all the way through Columbus, Cambridge, and into the panhandle of West Virginia. Otherwise, you know, for our region, the forecast worked out pretty well. Coating to an inch. Some places got 2 inches, especially in Columbiana County. All right, our warm-up really kicks in tomorrow. Thanks to this warm front, we'll get into a southerly flow. I think we're above freezing finally for the first time in a while by about midday, early afternoon, on our way up to about 40 before the end of the afternoon on your Friday. I think there'll be a lowering deck of clouds tomorrow night, and I can't rule out a little drizzle falling out of these clouds. I think our temperatures will stay a little above freezing, so I'm not real concerned about freezing drizzle at this point, but there could be some patches of drizzle during Saturday night and first thing Sunday morning. Then I think we turn pretty nice again Sunday afternoon with a little sunshine working in. It won't take much sunshine to send those temperatures up. This is a legit mild air mass for early February. So I've got 52 still in the forecast for Sunday afternoon, and the warmth will likely peak on Monday. I've got a high of 57 in the forecast on Monday. These showers off to our west should hold off until very late Monday and into Monday night. So partly sunny Saturday. We'll call it partly to mostly sunny for the afternoon on Sunday. And that 52 is about 17, 18 degrees above the average. All right, some tricky business in our forecasting for next week. I'm just going to show you the European model here tonight. We won't get too deep into the model differences, but the overall idea here for next week, our cold front comes through Monday night into Tuesday. That front settles to our south and then may come back northward as a warm front at some point during midweek. This is Wednesday on the European model, showing a lot of colors here. Temperatures could be borderline. We might have some mixed precipitation issues to contend with during parts of Wednesday, and perhaps again as we get into Wednesday night and Thursday. Notice the moisture comes back on Thursday, and there's some pinks around for a time. This is tricky business. This front's going to kind of wiggle and wobble around, and low confidence forecast in the details of what we can expect midweek, other than just saying it's going to be unsettled. The temperature forecast is tough. The precipitation forecast type is tough. It'll just depend on where this front wants to be. It's going to be a lot colder north of the front than south of the front, and we could be in kind of the battle zone starting around Tuesday night and continuing all the way through Thursday and Friday of next week. Thanks for checking out the February 1st edition of Weather for Weather Geeks. Hope you have a great weekend, everyone. I'll see you back here with a fresh edition of this video on Monday.